Hi there, Samad here, CEO of mConsent and author of the book, The Art of Patient Re-Engagement. If you are running a dental practice, this video could be a game changer that you need for your practice. You're sitting on a gold mine of inactive patients. Look at your patient database. In this video, I'll show you how to bring back those inactive patients back into your practice without spending a dime on ads. I'll cover 3 major reasons why you can't ignore this inactive patients, and I'll share actionable steps to turn this untapped potential into a treasure. By end of this video series, you'll have a clear plan how to reactivate your inactive patients and start boosting your practice revenue immediately. So don't skip any portion of the video. Let's get started. Welcome, dental professionals. My name is Samad, and on this channel, I help dental offices grow their practices with practical strategies. I have been working with dental practices for over a decade, and our software has helped more than 5,000 dental practices and serves more than 5 million patients every year. So if you're serious about growing your practice and taking your practice to the next level, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. When it comes to growing a practice owners and office managers often start focusing on one thing: how can I bring in new patients? What can I do to bring in new patients? They dedicate substantial budgets to marketing for new patient acquisition, whether it's Google ads, spending on Facebook ads, sending out mailers. While that's all absolutely necessary, there's a crucial question that often gets overlooked, and I want you to think about that question right now. The question is that what happened to those new patients who came into your practice last year, that you acquired last year, that you spent money to bring those patients into your practice last year? What happened to those patients? It's an important question. If you understand that question, you will understand why it's important. You know, the practices spend between $200 to $600 per patient for a new patient acquisition. But many don't have a solid process in place to ensure that those patients that you brought in can keep coming back. They come in first time, then you forgot about it. Too often, this responsibility falls on who? It falls on either front office to schedule them to come back, or it falls on a recall system, which has gone very ineffective these days. So before we start looking into practical growth strategies, how to reactivate those patients immediately, let's first begin with 3 reasons why you can't afford to ignore those inactive patients in your database. Why you can't do that. So let's talk about those 3 strategies, 3 practical strategy, 3 reasons why you can't afford to ignore those patients that are inactive. Let's talk about that. The number 1 reason why you can't afford to ignore your inactive patient database is simple: revenue. Your practice is losing revenue. Think about this. Every patient who stops coming back to your practice is a missed opportunity. Those clinics, treatments, checkups aren't happening anymore, which means your practice isn't generating the revenue that it should be generating. Let's break it down with a real example. If your practice acquired 500 new patients last year, right? And you spend the money to acquire these patients and you have them in your database, and let's say that 250 of them did not come from last year to this year. They haven't come back. 50% loss. That's a significant revenue loss. Imagine if each of those patients generate $1,000 per year, but now with 250 patients not coming back, that's loss of $250,000 from last year to this year. Here's a practical exercise I want you to do today. If you can go into your practice management system and run a report on inactive patients, whether you're using Dentrix, eaglesoft, OpenDental, whatever you're using, you have an option to look at those inactive patients that haven't come back in the last 12 to 18 months. I recently did this exercise with the local office here in Dallas area, and the results were shocking. It was shocking for the doctor, office manager. They didn't know that they were sitting on this treasure. They had 6,400 patients in their inactive database. 6,400. And within last 18 months or so, they have like a couple of thousand. Now think about this. If you could reactivate 1% of those patients every month, 1%. That would mean 64 new appointments. Those appointments generate, let's say, on average of $1,000 again in revenue. You are looking at additional revenue of $64,000 a month. That's why I say that number one reason dental practices cannot afford to ignore inactive patient database is because you're leaving money on the table. The patient reactivation is all about reclaiming those lost dollars and turning those potential losses into new opportunities. So don't lose revenue. Don't ignore and don't lose your revenue. Number two, most critical reason why you should not be ignoring your inactive patients is because of this, the cost of acquisition. The cost of acquiring a new patient is 5 to 7 times higher than reactivating a patient that's already in your system. It is significantly cheaper to get a booking from a patient that already knows your practice, knows your staff, or your location, and who you are. They know the doctor really well compared to someone who is a complete stranger. New patient acquisition requires heavy marketing. It comes with a heavy price tag, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, direct mail, spending on community projects. You have put a lot of money to build your initial patient database. You can continue to put money into that, which is fine, but it is expensive. It's usually between $200 to $600 per patient, right? So, but on the other hand, the patients who are already in your database, you know them, you know their family members, you have their contact information, you have their email, phone number. It takes simple as a nudge or a phone call from your practice or an email or a text message from your practice that tells the patient, how are you doing? Doctor, I haven't seen you for a long time. It's important that you take care of your oral health. Come back, right? So just a little message like that makes a huge difference. Let me give you an example, and I love to share this example. Every time I talk on podcasts, I talk on any show, this example is what I discuss. Crescent Family Dental, based out of Chicago, sends an email to 3,000 of their inactive patients that haven't come back in past 18 months or more. They just sent a message saying that, hey, doctor was looking for you, was asking about you, and how are you doing? And we just wanted to remind you that your annual checkup is due on this and this date. A simple caring message. You know how many appointments they booked in that week? 40 new appointments. And that's big. That's big. Now, just imagine that if you have tried to bring in 40 new patients through your traditional marketing efforts, this practice would have easily spent between $5,000 to $12,000 based on where they are, right? So this is what I call smart investment, is that you make small efforts and get big returns on them. You make small efforts and get big return on them. And the name of that effort is you're reactivating your patients, whether you do it through your staff, whether you hired somebody to do that. But if you ignore that, your cost of acquisition, because this is going to impact your bottom line. This is going to impact your bottom line. You spend 10 to 12 grand a month rather than, just first take what you have already in your system and then start working on your new patients. So now let's talk about reason number 3, why you can't ignore your inactive patients. The reason number 3 is your practice valuation. Okay. So this is something that a lot of people are not thinking about it, but I want you to give a thought to this. Your overall value of your practice. So if you're thinking about the future, whether you're looking to sell your practice, bring in more partners, or secure an investment, your patient base plays an important role in determining the worth of your practice. Here's an example. Dental practice with 2,000 active patients significantly have more value than somebody with 1,000 inactive patients. So let's say you have a total of 5,000 patients in your practice, 1,000 active, 4,000 inactive. The second practice have 2,000 active and 500 inactive. Who do you think will have more value? I'll let you think about that, right? So if I'm the investor, I'm looking at both practices. I'm going to look at the practice that have more active patients compared to the practice that have less active patients, because the practice with more active patients, I know there are patients that are significant, that they're coming back for treatments. Consistency in patient visits is there. And that's a key indicator of stability and growth potential in a practice. By reactivating these inactive patients, you're not just boosting immediate revenue, you're not just reducing the cost of acquisition, you are also increasing the overall value of your practice in long term. A larger patient database signals to the buyers and investors that your practice has strong patient loyalty, a steady revenue stream, and there is a room for future growth. People ask us like how mConsent can help us in reactivating this inactive patients, and what is it that you offer? So before I tell what we offer, what I want you to do is that I want to help you to take a couple of steps before you call us to ask for help. So first thing is that I want you to start doing this on your take small number of inactive patients. If you can use your current staff to call these patients, write down some of the scripts for them and email them, call them, and see if you can bring in some of those patients by yourself. Number two, that people ask is, can we use our marketing team? Can we use the team that we use for our Google ads, Facebook ads, and also to send mails? Can they help us? And I'll tell that most of the marketing teams that are out there, they don't have marketing companies that are out there. They don't have direct integration to your practice management system to easily pull out those patient information and then, run the campaigns that they need to run. How mConsent can help you is that we have built specialized tools to run this reactivation campaigns, and we do this on day in and day out basis, and we specialize in those. So if you have tried yourself and then you're not able to do it, then I would suggest you that you connect with our staff, our experts here, who can help you in two ways. One is that we can provide you tools, mConsent tools that will help you to engage with your inactive patients. We have the designs in place, we have the scripts in place for texting, for emailing, what to say on the ads. We have all that stuff in place. Or you can outsource that to our experts who knows how to send this, when to send this, and how many to send this at a time. And they will report back to you, our team will report back to you on how many patients they have been able to book. We have a tracking system in place. We have AI in place to answer those calls that patients call back with. So we have a system in place that can help you out reactivating those patients, so you don't want any patients to fall through cracks. So those are the things. So the first thing before you call us, just try to yourself. That's a good start. And then if you need our help, we have experts in place who will be happy to provide a free consultation for your practice. You can see where you stand and where you can go and help on building your goals for your practice. So that's all I have for today. So thank you. And then don't forget to watch the next video that we are going to talk about how you can put strategies in place to reactivate those patients. Take care. Thank you.